improvement. From the reports we're gathering from Niger State, from Kano, from, across the country earlier today, some INEC officials even arrived before those who were expected to come and vote. So we have seen improvement in the areas of logistics deployment. And of course, we've seen places where beavers functioning, and I think a place somewhere in Lagos where the beavers won't function. So you cannot rule out some of these hitches as we grow our election processes. But by and large, I think there's an improvement.
But those beavers machines, they have a sort of redundancy built into them. So that if it doesn't work with your thumbprint, then it happened with Ashwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu when he was casting his vote. You saw the person say, okay, the only reason they would have been trying to do his facial capture would have been because the thumbprint, was too slow or was not working. So they just went there, and in due course, somebody was saying that it was Ni Akinwale who just left. He said it took him all of 90 seconds, to vote. Now that would have been the case because he could use his thumbprint. But the Beavers machine it's an INEC, it's an INEC innovation, isn't it? And they came up with it, and they have explained that you cannot avoid it. Don't let anybody try to make you avoid it. Don't let anybody say anything about, oh, the crowd is such. No, you must go through Beavers. So everybody knows that, as we say, the wuru that Beavers is preventing, it's quite phenomenal.
Yeah, prior to the introduction of Beavers, we have a system where if you can't vote or they can't locate your card or locate your data, you simply fill an incident form. And that gave room to votes, unlawful votes being recorded. And because of that, INEC had to think about what to do about this problem. And they came out with this wonderful idea: let us preload all the machines, with the data of the voters. And when you get, they'll provide the information so you know where you are supposed to vote. So doing that significantly removed the need for overvoting, because if you don't go through Beavers, you can't vote. So where you have a situation where people try to beat the system, it will result into overvoting. So in that polling unit, even if it's by one,
and that
vote more than the accredited voters, the result of that polling unit will be annulled, which is brilliant because we've been able to tame that problem. One confusion
that is part of the legislation that Gideon was talking about.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. But there's one confusion in the minds of many people, particularly those who are unhappy about the outcome of the last presidential election. They thought Beavers is directly linked to IREF. Beavers is not directly linked to IREF. There are two different technologies. Beavers is for data capturing to verify you are the right person to vote and then accredit you. The IREF is totally different. The counting is done manually. The results are recorded in Form EC8A for all polling agents to sign, and a copy given, to the security officer in charge of that area, while INEC will now upload the already signed results, to IREF. So there are two different technologies. In the case of IREF, it failed to work because of there are so many attacks. There were hitches. So therefore, it did not invalidate the results of the election as signed by polling agents, at the polling unit. What IREF is for is strictly for viewing. That's all. It's just for viewing. The Beavers is actually the machine that is doing the magic in terms of avoiding or eliminating overvoting or unlawful votes in our voting system.
Indeed, and thank you very much for that clarification. It's important. Earlier we were seeing, maybe we'll see the picture again. We were seeing the picture of the APC, the APC candidate in Akwa Ibom State. That was in the person of Mr. Akan Udofia, but that picture went away. Meanwhile, Demola Lawrence is standing by to give us a report from his location. Demola, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Yuri. It's been an interesting one here in Akwa Ibom State. Of course, the election materials left the different polling units as at 7:30 at the different polling unit to the different polling unit. Right now, I'm actually at Isit Ibom, where one of the candidates, of course, vying for this particular position, for the governorship position, is actually just finished casting his vote here in Isit Ibom. So it's been an interesting one to see that people are actually out, trying to perform their civic duty at a different polling center. But what I'm going to be talking to him now. Thank you very much. You just finished casting your vote. Tell me, how was the process for you?
In my unit here, it was okay. It was well above average, I must say. INEC they've delivered here thus far. I pray that it stays that way till the end.
So, tell me some of the things that you have heard from your people around. How has the voting been in all around Akwa Ibom State?
There's definitely increased violence this time around. Maybe because it's a closer election. When I mean closer to the grassroots, considering the House of Assembly. And this election is particular to Akwa Ibom State. The earlier election was presidential, and national, so the interest is not as high as it is now. I'm very disappointed, I must say, in the conduct of the government and their agents. Vote intimidation, harassment, and totally disregard for human life and property. Totally unacceptable. And we have several videos that at the appropriate time the whole world will see, perpetrated at the very highest level of this PDP government.
Where exactly can you just some of the areas that you've heard that this violence happened? Where exactly have you heard
The
that?
secretary to the in Odomoko and Mebugu, the secretary to the government, sorry, went there physically, and I have videos. At least I have a 2-minute video where he went there to disrupt elections and carried materials from there. He went in with a retinue of security men, police armed. And this is not even his polling unit, talk less of his jurisdiction or where he comes from. And the same thing here in Assam. The sitting local government chairman's constituency, his polling unit, his ward, nothing but violence, absolute madness and mayhem going there. The security agencies are aware.
Okay, so lastly,
of course, they're targeting my strong.
So let me ask.
Okay, that's if that Peter B is about to vote in his polling station. So there you go. Actually, we're looking at the back. Okay, that's Peter B. I think in the background there. This is Anambra. We've switched over to Anambra. There you go. Now facing the camera and walking out is Peter B. So that's Peter B's vote there in Anambra. Something has happened to the sound because the ambient sound. I don't know where the ambient. Where's the ambient sound for all of this? Because it's okay, okay. Put Agulu in, and I'm sure our reporter is there you go. Even Mr. Obi seems to be quite willing. Okay, so maybe we'll hear from Mr. Obi shortly.
For the purpose of that, the very low, and it turned out to be obvious people not make it, why make the effort to come out and That's my observation. Well, that I'm saying to the group. Well, I don't similar anything again. That's why you have in a less than 10 coming up because their vote will not count, and I'm sure it will be less.
Okay, that was Peter will be there, voting in his hometown of Agulu, if I'm saying that right, in Anambra State. And but we were with Demola Lawrence before we cut across to Anambra State. Demola is in River State, I believe. So Demola, we interrupted you earlier. Please continue. Akwa Ibom, I beg your pardon.
Yes, okay. I'm actually in Akwa Ibom. So before I let the one of the governorship candidates left Akanodofia, I asked him that he alleged that some videos have surfaced where violence have actually occurred in Akwa Ibom State, and some people have being vandalized, and of course things are already happening. So I asked him, are these places that he mentioned, that he's talking about, are they like strongholds or to him, or they are like just a general place? And he said they are strongholds for him. And of course, but that's not even the main crux of the story. That the main crux of the story is the fact that people are supposed to come out, perform their civic duty, irrespective of the party they want to vote for, irrespective of who the candidate is. They should just come out and perform their duty instead of people trying to vandalize and of course cause mayhem around the city. And so, but like I told him, I said I have monitored from places that I have monitored today. It's quite different from the story that he told me this morning while I was in Uyo City precisely. Yes, the election started pretty early. Election material got to polling units pretty early, but of course, what the challenge is that they didn't start the election on time. It was not the same for different areas, but it's been an interesting one to see that election in Akwa Ibom State, according to him, is began to turn to something else that he thinks that it shouldn't have happened in the first place. He's alleging that violence has started erupting in some areas in Akwa Ibom State.
You haven't been able to authenticate that as we always like to do, right?
No, I've not been able to authenticate that.
And to the general charge about voting started late, what can you tell us about that in the venues that you are familiar with?
Okay, so why the voting started late in some polling units? First of all, it was because of logistics challenge. Yes, it has improved a bit, but it looks as if still the same issue. Like I visited polling unit 12 in Uyo, Oban Ward 1. It was one of the things that I was told by the INEC official was the fact that they got there late. The logistics was the issue. And when they now got there, the political party agents were telling them that they should bring out the ballot paper one after the order that they want to see it. And that also takes a lot of time. And that particular polling unit has over 3,000 registered voters. So it takes a lot of time. So that was particular to that particular polling unit. And another polling unit that I visited, the INEC ad hoc staff were not there as at the time. That was Holy Christ Covenant Primary School here in Huyo. They were not there as at the time, and that was like past 9. They were not there. So it's just in pocket of places where the election started late. But as at past 9, they started coming out, and people were already at the queue to make sure that they cast their votes in Akwa Ibom State.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Demola. So Demola, of course, will always be touching base with you. from time to time as necessary. And beyond this whole matter about lateness, I